Okay, let's make a quick YouTube video. Actually, who am I kidding? This isn't going to be quick. It's going to take a while, and it's already 1:30 a.m. Shit. But, you know, even though I said my video to Tommy was going to be my last video, I've decided to further reduce my already piss-poor credibility level around here by going back on my word, because, Tommy, you're a great guy, but wouldn't it be a little bit messed up if my last video was to an atheist and I ignored my brothers in Christ, Jesus Freak and Brett Keane, when they've both made videos to me? So I'm going to respond to them. I'm not going to go through all the work of splicing video clips and all that. I'm just going to hold my microphone up to the computer speaker and respond that way. But before we get to that, let's respond to a few comments from various comment sections around YouTube, mostly mine. Let's start with this one here from Brett's video. This guy, Tony Stone, says, "The Fluffy Kittenist, a lot of people have videos asking you to stay. You are important. If not, those voices would be silent." I count 3, Tony Stone. I count Tommy from the Bronx, Jesus Freak, and Brett Keane. If there's somebody else, then I've got to be missing something, so leave it in the comments, do whatever, but you know. And you know, if 100 people were asking me to stay, I still wouldn't, but I just find that to be an incorrect statement. Okay, so next, Elite Mathlete, one of my old school trolls, and that's why he's getting a response, just because you got to respect the trolls that have been at it for a long time. This dude has been doing what he does since like 2006, and it's kind of amazing. And he says, "Are you gone for good now, Captain's cuck?" Yes, I am gone for good now, but the captain is my cuck. You got to consider, Ocean Avani was his girlfriend well, not girlfriend, but he fucked her first. They were together first. He wanted her to be his girlfriend, and she wouldn't commit. And then I came into the picture, and she left him for me. So unless I just don't understand how cuckolding works, yeah, I think you got it backwards. All right, let's check the next one. Ping O says, "It would have been preferable had you never been born in the first place, but since you're here, you might as well keep rambling meaningless shit on YouTube. I mean, what is your life outside of YouTube exactly?" Okay, hold that thought, because in a few more comments I'm going to address this. But remember this, he asks, what is your life outside of YouTube? So just hold that thought. Okay, what do we got next? Zombies Nom 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 says, "Brett quits YouTube once a month also." I really shouldn't have to point this out, but of course I do. I've never said that I was quitting YouTube before. I've announced that I was going to go on hiatuses. I've been banned. This is the first time in 10 years that I've ever said, "Hey guys, I'm retiring permanently from YouTube." If I'm forgetting something, and I've done this before, somebody find the, go through Zarash's archive and find it, because I really don't recall that ever happening. Alright, now we got Aries106. He says, "I think you have a good reason for leaving. I also don't think people change their mind in a debate, regardless of the arguments. But I also don't think you are really going to leave forever. Hopefully you will prove me wrong, though." Oh, I will. Okay, what do we got next? We've got, I can't pronounce this, YP1. And he says, "Hey man, not fair. I'm just starting to get to know you and enjoy your channels since your little discussion with Amendum. I happen to think it's the best thing happening to Gary in a long time. Though he would of course never admit to that or even realize it. No, Mr. Gary is going to say fuck you 10 times and then argue. Anyway, you know, there's a couple comments like this. There's a couple of really nice comments from people that want to see me. Like, here's another one, Brandon Hawkins. "Truth be told, I totally get why you're bouncing out again. Sucks though. You're gonna do what you're gonna do. I think the reason No. I'm thinking about time here. Here's a copy and paste of the comment I left on Tommy's channel. Been watching Chris's stuff since early '09. Right around that time, I found your channel and a slew of others. Seen a lot of crazy shit happen around him, much of which you mentioned here. I gotta hand it to the guy, though. There's something about him. He's one of the few people on YouTube that can hold my attention for more than 10 minutes. Look, you know, I can't remember whether it was Jesus Freak or Brett Keane. I think it was Brett Keane. You know, it was Brett. Now I remember that now. Who said to me, you know, the only comments you see, and the reason you have such a negative impression of your audience is because it's only the trolls that are the loudest voices, and there's the silent majority of people who do take what you say seriously. Well, I mean, all I can say is you guys have been too silent for too long. Like, you should have came out of the woodwork sooner. And I'm sorry to go, but, you know, it is what it is. Okay, now let's get to Great Helm here. Don't delete your channel. You'll regret it. You're a public figure on YouTube with 2,000 subscribers. Come on, man. You've got fans and haters. Don't cut off your primary outlet for reaching out and speaking your mind to the people. Okay, now remember the other comment that I said, hold that thought? You like, what do you do in real life? Well, Great Helm, you say, don't cut off your primary outlet for reaching out and speaking your mind to the people. I don't know why you guys assume this is my primary outlet for reaching out and speaking my mind to people. Now, granted, I'm probably one of... I don't want to call myself like a big YouTube name, because I'm really not. I'm like a Z-lister, but... You know, of the Z-listers, I'm probably the one that talks the least about their personal life. So, you know, I've mentioned this in comments before, but it's probably like nobody really noticed these comments or saw them, so I'll put this in a video. I'm very politically active in real life, in the flesh space, if you will. I do a lot of stuff. I'm an in real life grassroots political organizer. I've been a field manager for numerous political campaigns. I was a congressional campaign intern. I've done volunteer work for a lot of political advocacy groups. I mean, like, I don't know why you guys just assume I do nothing in real life, and that my only outlet for speaking to people and influencing people is YouTube. It's really not. I mean, I'm not going to, like, print a resume here for you guys, but rest assured, I do plenty in real life. I'm not, you know, my voice isn't going to be silenced forever because I stopped making videos on this shithole. So, you know, don't assume that. Okay, let's see what we've got here. No, I'm not going to read this one. This is a nice one, but I'm not going to read it. All right, let's see what else. Here's another nice one. Lenore Bunny, it doesn't matter what the truth is, I just want you to stay. That's sweet. I mean, you know, a lot of people are really pulling out all the stops to try to get me to stay, but guys, come on. Just accept it with a little bit of dignity. I mean, it is what it is. Okay, now here's one by Zarash. He says, I respect your wishes to leave. It's your choice, and I won't waste your time guilt-tripping you into staying. Take care, and I wish you happiness. Now, you know, this is the kind of thing that I wish more people were saying. However, I'm going to do the same thing to you, Zarash, that everybody else does to me whenever I open my mouth, and assume a little ulterior motivation here. Because you know full well that the minute I close my channel down, the market value of your channel is going to shoot through the fucking roof because you're my official archivist. You're going to be the one-stop shop for everybody's Fakesagan needs the minute I'm gone. So of course you're going to be supportive and encouraging of my decision to leave. But nevertheless, Zarash, thank you for your kind words. And here's first last. And this guy is one of my I guess you would have to call him like the new Jack version of Eternal Undying Love. Like he's my most dedicated troll that just leaves like some kind of negative comment on every video I make, regardless of the subject. And yet, ironically, the comment that he's left here is one of my favorites that anybody has left. And he says, after 10 years of being an ever-mutating, deceptive egomaniac, nobody believes anything you say anymore. Surprise. Now you're lying in the bed that you made so very well indeed. I believe you're leaving for the reason you said, and I think it's a very mature and logical decision. So long. Now, granted, it's still a troll comment. I mean, there's still a lot of, he calls me a deceptive egomaniac, which, I mean, in a way, that's not an unfair statement. And I do absolutely accept that to some extent I've made my bed, and, all the trolling of my audience that I've done over the years, and all the deliberate misdirections is what's damaged my credibility. So it's not like I don't realize I played a hand in this. But the reason that I love this comment is the sentence, I believe you're leaving for the reason you said. And I think it's a mature and logical decision. Well, thank you, first last. This is what I want to hear from everybody. I mean, like, I believe that you're doing what you're doing, and for the reasons that you said you're doing it. If I got more comments like this, even from haters and trolls, I wouldn't be leaving. So, first last, thank you. And now, that's enough comments. Let's, wait, there was one that I missed. Oh man, there was one I really wanted to read here. Where did it go? If I can find it, oh, that would be great. Where the hell was it? Should I just pause? Yeah, I'm going to pause so I can find this. Okay, found it. Here's the one I was looking for. Sayuas, whatever. This is another one of my trolls that just shows up on all my videos and says, whatever you're saying, it's the opposite of what you're saying. I don't believe you. You're not really a Christian. You're trolling everybody. That's been his main shtick for the past, 10 videos I've made, is like, oh, still pretending to be a Christian. Oh, at 10 plus troll points for talking about Christianity, blah, blah, blah. And he says, that whole finishing YouTube thing didn't last very long. Okay. It's not Tuesday night yet, you fucking rhesus monkey. Okay, my video, I would say reading comprehension, but you didn't even have to read. That video I made entitled Goodbye, it was only 10 minutes long. It was concise, to the point, and I clearly said, in 48 hours, I'm shutting my channel down and I'm never coming back, and I'm announcing my retirement. When the hell did I say, oh, and until such time as Tuesday night, I'm placing a self-imposed gag order on myself and taking a vow of silence, and I'm not going to make any more YouTube videos between now and then. No, I never said that at all. And once again, this illustrates the point that you guys don't fucking listen to a damn thing. But, I mean, seriously, you're either trolling or retarded, and neither one would surprise me, but I'm kind of leaning towards retarded. I really think that you're I'm wondering how you got through school. I'm wondering if they, gave you a reading assignment on Huck Finn, and then you did your book report, and you were like, yeah, it was about 3 guys on a boat in France, and they met the Duke, and no, you get an F. I mean, really, it was a 10-minute video. I said exactly what I'm doing. I said exactly why I'm doing it, and I gave a time frame of when I'm doing it. I don't know where this whole idea came from that, I'm not going to make any videos between now and Tuesday night. If I decide to make 15 fucking YouTube videos tomorrow afternoon, then I'm going to do it. In fact, I probably will. Because it's my last chance to say anything I feel like saying. So, bottom line is, you're stupid. And thanks for your stupid comment. And now let's move along, and we're going to get to Jesus Freak. And he says, Fakesagan must stay. Oh, I love you, Jesus Freak, but I hate it when people tell me what I must do. But let's get to this video though. Here we go.
Hello everyone. I want to talk about the fluffy kittenist, also known as the Fakesagan, king of the mother effing YouTubes. You know I was going to say that, right?
Yeah, brief word on that. That image that I used, I didn't make that myself. Not that I really have a problem saying motherfuck. I guess I'm not that Christian yet. I'm still learning. Like I said, I'm a neophyte. I haven't even been confirmed yet. I'm like taking classes with a priest and all that. I shouldn't be making excuses for myself, but really, that's some demotivational poster that somebody made. The way I found it is I just Googled Fakesagan. I just did a Google search for Fakesagan, and that was like one of the first pictures that came up. So that's where that came from. But anyway, let's go on.
Christopher, I watched your video where you're saying goodbye to...
I find this interesting too, how everybody's using my real name all of a sudden now that I'm leaving. It's like I revealed, or well, I should say revealed, I confirmed what my real name is a couple weeks ago. It might have been almost a month ago at this point. I don't know. I'm tired. But it's been known for a while, but the minute I announced that I'm going to retire, everybody's like, Chris, hey Chris, hey Chris, hey Chris. I just think it's kind of interesting. It's like this has made me so much more intimate for people for some reason. It fascinates me psychologically. I don't know what it is. Anyway, go on.
YouTube. I understand that you feel a little defeated, and you obviously, talked about this a little bit more at length concerning your debate or discussion with Gary, also known as Inmendum. I want to encourage you to rethink your decision. I think you would be remiss to make such a rash decision. You and I have been on YouTube.
Well, okay, it's not really as rash as people seem to think. Everybody is assuming that this has to do with my debate with Gary, and it does. I mean, that was kind of like a last straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing, but I've been leaning towards this for a long time. Tommy from the Bronx in his video kind of assumes that the reason nobody takes you at face value and doesn't believe everything you say is because you damaged your credibility so badly with the 666 fundraiser thing. I have a long memory, Tommy. People have been doing this to me long before the 666 fundraiser. And I have a pretty good record of honesty on here, to be honest. I mean, I've done a couple of ruses that were obvious ruses, like the moderate Klansman thing, but I mean, come on, it was a rhetorical device. It was practically a joke. Like if that counts as like some lie or scam that is justification to not believe anything I say, then the bar's set pretty low. That's all I can say. Anyway, go on, Jesus Freak.
YouTube for a very long time. We've both gone through a lot of changes. I'm still a Christian, and now you are a Christian, but we've still have done we've done a lot of changing in our lives.
I kind of want to disagree with you a little bit. I think I've changed quite a bit. I don't think you've changed that much in the time that I've known you here on YouTube, but I don't take that as an insult. I actually mean it as a compliment. See, I see you and Inmendum as two people who have, more than most here on YouTube, remained entirely consistent for the whole time you've been here. And everybody else can't make the same claim. Even somebody like TJ has changed quite a bit. But guys like Inmendum, guys like you, you have remained very, very consistent in your message. And that's why you're never going to have the kind of problems with credibility that I do. But anyway, so understand when I say that I don't think you've changed that much, whereas I have, I mean it as a compliment and not an insult. Now, go on.
But one thing's for certain, both of us are passionate excuse me, about what we believe. and we're passionate about speaking about what we believe. I don't make videos on YouTube just to hear myself talk. I have a passion for leading others to Christ.
I actually do have a passion for hearing myself talk. Here's a little killer diller detail about the Fakesagan. It might interest some of you guys to know that every time I upload a YouTube video, and I've done this since 2006, every single time it goes live, I give it at least 10 views myself. And that's not to push the view count up. That's because I love the sound of my voice. I love watching my own videos. I think I read one time about Prince that he doesn't listen to any music besides his own, and I really respected that a lot. I was like, that's awesome. It takes a lot of confidence in yourself to just have your head 10 feet up your own ass like that, and kind of be satisfied listening to your own stuff, and that's what I do. I mean, once I upload this video, I'm gonna watch it like 5 times and just be sitting there nodding like, yep, this is good stuff. All right. Anyway, go on.
I want other people to gain something of eternal consequence. I want their lives to be drastically changed. I want them to know the God that I know, because I know they will be richly blessed. You follow that same God. And I think you would be very remiss to back out and not allow God to continue using you if God is using you.
And that's a pretty big if.
You see, I believe God has some great plans for you, and I think that you would be a wonderful tool for God to use to lead others to Christ.
But by staying on YouTube, perhaps I would just be a wonderful tool, period.
I know it can be frustrating to feel as though you're not getting any traction. You're just spinning your wheels.
Extremely frustrating, Jesus freak.
Not going anywhere. But let me offer this to you. Sometimes losing the battle with one person can win you a battle with 5 people that watched the initial battle. Sometimes those people are the most important people that you're talking to.
That is probably the strongest point. I have to assume probably the strongest point that you're going to make in this video. That's hard to argue with. How many people are watching me, taking what I say seriously, deriving some kind of value from it, and I never even know because they're not the type of person who leaves comments? That is entirely possible. But it's just not enough reason to make me want to stay.
You're not talking to Gary. You're talking to everybody that's watching. Lives can be changed. You know the little story about Johnny Appleseed, right? He goes around the countryside planting apples. Have you ever asked yourself, did Johnny Appleseed ever hang around long enough to watch those seeds become saplings? For those saplings to become trees and those trees become an orchard? I doubt it. He was off to the next area so he could plant more. You see, he trusted, I would assume that he trusted that other people would take care of developing these trees, helping them grow, nurturing them. Trusted that God would provide water and nutrition in the soil. We don't always get to see the fruit of our works, but every now and then we do. And let me tell you, with this recent family situation that I've been dealing with, I have heard from many different people that have contacted me and said, dude, your videos have changed my life for the better. You are a large part of why I'm a Christian. Believe me, that is overwhelming to hear.
Do you know what I hear pretty often? That I'm a large part of the reason that people became atheists.
When you hear from people that still watch, still care, they tell you that their relationship with God has grown or even began because I was a small part of it. That is amazing. So the video legacy that I have on YouTube, the 600 and some odd videos, I pray we'll reach out to, the multitudes and to different generations.
Jesus Freak, they probably will, but I'm not you. Like I said, you have a long, storied track record, and you've been very consistent since you've been here on YouTube. I don't have your credibility, sir.
And maybe they will be richly blessed in what I'm saying. That's my hope, and that's my prayer. And thankfully, every now and then, I get glimpses of the orchards that I've been planting. And it's not any credit to me. It all goes to God. I'm thankful to God for giving me the platform, the ability, the voice and the heart and the intellect to be able to do so. But still, I am a part of that system that is working, that is trying to be that body of Christ to lead people to Jesus. So I just encourage you to please reconsider what you're wanting to do. Ask yourself, how many other people are possibly affected? Did you know you could be a tremendous tool just to build the body of Christ stronger?
Or I could just be a tremendous tool.
Maybe you won't convert people. Maybe God is calling you to strengthen the troops. Maybe God has called you to be an evangelical. Maybe God has called you to do prison ministry and,
Okay, let me cut you off here. Now, it would be very silly for me to say to a guy like you, don't bring God into this, because that is what you do. You always keep God on. It's something I really respect about you. But honestly, like I told you when we were texting earlier, I'm a neophyte Christian. I'm still taking religious education classes. I am not qualified to be an evangelist at all. I'm still learning myself, and I don't think it's my place this early in the game to say, oh yeah, it's my job to get on YouTube and bring everybody to Christ. But I mean, the guy from the 666 fundraiser is maybe not necessarily the best mouthpiece for Christianity on YouTube. You get what I'm saying here, Jesus Freak?
Fight with the toughest of the tough. I've joked and always said that I have the equivalency of an online prison ministry, right? Because most people that I'm talking to don't want to hear what I'm saying. I'm not here to preach to the choir, but those that are preaching to the choir are needed to strengthen the choir. You know this. I don't need to say these things, but I wanted to encourage you that God may have a place for you in ministry, and your talent would be sadly wasted if you weren't using it for God's greater good.
Well, Jesus Freak, maybe that's true. Maybe my calling is to be an evangelist. However, I don't see how it logically follows that my calling is to be a YouTube evangelist. As many have remarked, my credibility here is pretty damn low. So I don't think I'm equipped for that job.
So please, Christopher,
there it is again.
Consider what I'm saying, and don't leave YouTube. I'm subscribed to you. You're one of the few people that sit and talk that I want to listen to, so please don't deprive myself and other people of your wonderful oration abilities, and glorify God, my brother. Just glorify God. That's all we can do. I promise you, dude, you may not get the feedback, but if you do, it's going to be amazing. But if you don't get feedback, I promise you, God is going to use someone else to nurture what you're planting. You have to have that hope and that type of faith. And I'm sure you do. So I probably wasted your time for 6 minutes telling you something that you already know. I'm certain you already know this. But as a brother in Christ, I feel that you need to hear it from a brother in Christ.
You're not wasting my time. I just don't agree with everything you're saying. I think you like me. Maybe you feel a little bit of gratitude because of what I did for Stephanie, and you want me to stay for that reason, and maybe you do watch my videos. But I just can't see things the way you see them. I really don't think there's a lot of good that I can do on here.
So I've said my piece. I pray God wishes you well. Pray God blesses you, and I wish you well. If you leave YouTube, it's going to be unfortunate for the rest of us. I wish you well, and God bless. And if you stay, I think you will find that you will be richly rewarded. I know the rest of us will be.
If I stay, the only reward that I'm going to reap is even lower credibility than I already have. Because it's just going to bolster this idea that I'm full of shit and that everything I say is disingenuous, because I've already announced that I'm leaving. So that isn't even an option that's on the table. And even if it was an option that's on the table, I really still wouldn't want to stay. But please don't take it personally. Like I've said a million times to everybody that I'm friendly with on here, it is not a middle finger to you guys. This doesn't have anything to do with you guys. I'm not doing this to hurt you. It's not that I don't like you anymore. It's not that I'm not going to miss you. It's just that I think my time on YouTube is really at an end. I've kind of done everything I can do here, and like you said, I'm spinning my wheels, and there's no traction. So I appreciate your kind words, but it's futile. It really is futile. Okay, so moving right along, let's get to Brett Keane, and here we go. I had a conversation on the phone with Brett Keane earlier tonight. Oh, it starts with me. It was actually a really good talk. I got it. Let me see if I can skip past this.
Fakesagan and I. So Fakesagan and I, we talked on the phone for a long time last night. We talked about old times, we talked about good times, we talked about bad times, and I feel like we earned a lot of trust between each other. There was a lot of respect. We learned things about each other that we never even knew. It's surprising, Fakesagan's been around maybe longer than myself, maybe the same amount of time.
Yeah, let me interject already and say a few words about this. I don't know which one of us created our channel first. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. But you made a name for yourself before I did. The Brett Keane channel was already highly subscribed and had a big audience. And I used you to springboard myself to fame. Not intentionally. I mean, you and I both know what went down. There's no need to rehash old shit. But essentially, you did the same thing for me that I did for Straight Dope. Which is that I made a pretty nasty video about you, and the drama of it all just kind of launched me into the limelight. And that's why I think there's so much poetic justice in making amends with you before I leave. And speaking of long conversations, I had a long conversation with Jesus Freak tonight. And it was via text message, not phone conversation, because he wanted to talk to me while I was at work. And in case anybody wonders what I'm doing right now to butter my bread, I'm a mechanic. That's how I make my money these days. Not an auto mechanic, by the way. I guess technically you would have to call me a machinist. I repair machines, and I enjoy doing it. I like working with machines because they're so much easier to understand than people. You give them the right parts, you give them the right maintenance, and they do what they're designed to do. They always have a predictable result. You put in effort A and you get out result B, and there's never any variation. And I just really like that. And hearing myself talk, I recognize how much of the autistic there is in what I'm saying. And I think there's probably an element of the autism spectrum to everybody who makes videos on YouTube and does this kind of thing. Because really, to put yourself out here like this, you kind of have to be divorced from social consequences and not really think about the fact that, hey, I'm expressing my opinions publicly to all these people, and I just don't really, it just kind of doesn't seem real to me. I think everybody who does this is probably somewhere on the spectrum. Maybe I'm like kind of a mid-level Asperger or something like that. But yeah, I work with machines, and anyway, I was talking with Jesus Freak via text, and I'm not going to reveal anything that he said to me because it was a private conversation. But I don't see how there could be anything wrong in me revealing one thing that I said to him, and I'm going to read that right now. So here it is. I said, "There's a strange poetic justice to how things worked out. I spent so many years confident of my place in the scheme of things on YouTube, but now that my time is done, I find I've come full circle and realized that the people I thought were my friends were not, and the people I counted enemies were the good ones." So there you go with that. And I think you're a prime example of this, Brett. Anyway, go on.
And it's surprising after all these years how little you actually know about someone.
Amen, brother.
This is a guy who, whenever he started out on YouTube, he had a look of confidence, and he spoke very confidently about his views and his position.
And that really isn't a put on. I do have that same sort of confidence in real life. I am the kind of person who can get up in front of a crowd of 1,000 people in flesh space, in real life, and deliver an oration. And I do this frequently. I mean, one thing that I've done as a job several times is train groups of political canvassers and teach them how to talk to strangers and give a persuasive argument. I've also been in sales. I've done things like that. Essentially, I'm a good bullshit artist. I'm really good at I have a good political skill set. I'm just good at getting up in front of a crowd. I don't have any of that fear of that stage fright, that fear of public speaking that the average human being does. I don't have an inch of that. I mean, I'm the kind of guy that'll stand up in the town hall meeting and be like, "Hey, it's time for you all to listen to what I have to say." Anyway, go on.
He was somebody that whenever you watched him, you got the perception that he was, as some people would describe me, as a guy who stands on a rock and he just takes the waves and nothing can stop him, the king of pawnage. There's nothing that can bring the guy down.
Well, clearly there is.
But the truth is that all that was what people projected. That is what people perceived whenever they watched him. That actually wasn't truly him.
That's a half-truth. It really is kind of my personality. Like I said, I just am that loudmouth with a lot of confidence. Certainly, maybe it's undeserved confidence. Certainly, maybe. That didn't make any fucking sense. But yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, this is something that I can do, and I frequently do.
What he really was a person who was very angry, who's seen a world around him with a lot of bullshit going on, and he wanted to see changes even then whenever he was a non-believer.
Absolutely true. That is a correct statement.
Now, he is a believer today, and he still wants to see the changes, and it still bothers him when he looks around the world. But he realizes that there's not only a war that is happening out on the planet, he realizes there's a war inside.
Absolutely. There's this quote from the Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky that I'm actually thinking about having tattooed on my left forearm. That's and the quote goes like this: "The devil is struggling against God, and the battlefield is the human heart." One thing I love about Christian theology that I wasn't aware of before I started studying it is this idea of how the body of Christ, the church, is divided into two sections. The church triumphant, which is in heaven, and those of us on earth are known as the church militant. And I absolutely do consider that we're in a war. And it takes a lot of discipline to win a war. And I guess I'll go ahead and throw a Muslim term in here. Yeah, I'm waging a jihad, an inner spiritual war against myself. And I feel like if I stay on YouTube and remain in the company of the unrighteous, which doesn't include you and Jesus Freak and Tommy from the Bronx, it just includes the masses, YouTube itself, that's going to be a great impediment to any progress I might make. I think I definitely need to make a tactical retreat, a spiritual retreat.
It's the kind of war that is very difficult to win, almost impossible. It's where you're asking yourself inside, is the world worth fighting for? Are people worth talking to anymore? Is anyone actually listening?
The world isn't worth fighting for. The prince of this world is the devil. But the people in this world are definitely worth fighting for, and I'll never stop fighting for them as long as I live. In some way, shape, or form, I'm always going to be Fakesagan. I'm always going to be doing what I do. I just won't be doing it on YouTube.
Does anything really matter? And it's hard to be able to convince yourself of that whenever you're surrounded around people who are very negative, people who they just don't care about themselves and they don't care about anything around them. So you look around and you're trying to find that hope and you're trying to find that reason why you should go on living, why you should go on breathing. And you figure, you know what? I'm going to try to bring another person hope. So he directed his attention towards somebody who's...
By the way, let me just interject here. Is anybody else listening to this video and just being gobsmacked in the face by how much wisdom there is in it? I mean, think about all the shit Brett Keane has taken over the years. All the misconceptions people have about his intellect, his motivations. But has anybody listened to him recently? I mean, this guy's kind of batting 1,000 lately, and I don't think he's getting the credit he deserves for it. I hear this guy speak, and it's just like, wow, this is some next level shit.
Very hardcore. Someone who's very trained in their ways, and he went after Amendum, and he was hoping that he could get through to a guy that can't even get through to himself.
If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. If you can change Amendum's mind, you could change anybody's mind.
And it was very exhausting for him spiritually and mentally, because no matter how he tried to articulate himself, no matter how hard he tried to get through to this guy who is literally unmovable, impossible, he decided, I can't do this anymore. I can't continue to make videos.
But I do have to reiterate, it's not all about Gary. It really is not all about Gary.
Of course it's more than just Amendum. Of course it's...
Okay, thanks.
More than what people understand. Mr. Fakesagan is trying to find hope within himself. He's trying to find a reason why any of this shit should make sense. A lot of people were surprised a while back because they seen the same guy who seemed extremely competent and seemed very intelligent. He went from being a very confident person in their perception to a guy who began drinking and then putting a gun to his own head while loaded on a live broadcast.
You know, I don't think I went from being something else to being that guy. It was one fundraiser, for fuck's sake. I mean, it's not like that's something I do every day.
Do you know why he did it?
Because I was piss drunk and I thought it was funny.
You know why he put a gun to his head and continued to say that he was going to take himself out?
To shock the audience.
Nowhere in any of that speech did he say he wanted to do it because he was depressed and that the world was terrible and life wasn't worth living.
I've never been the suicidal type.
Nowhere in that entire recording that trolls like to put up all over the internet did he say that life wasn't worth living. In this, he kept on saying, pay TJ the money, donate now, or...
Actually, what I kept repeating over and over again was gives free speech a voice.
I'm going to fucking kill myself. I know you guys are going to think that this is weird, but he was literally willing to sacrifice himself and hurt himself. And
no, Brett, no. I never had any intention of pulling the trigger. I'm never that drunk. You could inject an IV bag of straight Everclear into my carotid artery, and I still wouldn't. How can I put this? And I'm sure it'll sound like bullshit, especially since even the most reasonable things I say are considered bullshit by people on YouTube. I'm never that out of control. I'm always a little bit more in control of the situation than people think. And you know, like, one thing I hear a lot about the 666 fundraiser is, oh, you cut yourself way too deep. Oh, he cut himself way too deep. No, if I cut myself too deep, I would be dead, and I would have died. If you can soak an injury and survive, clearly it's not too deep. You know, in the Straight Dope video, he's like, here you see his eyes rolling back in his head, and he's starting to pass out from the blood loss. No, I was passing out from alcohol.
In order to, in a weird, morbid way, get the attention of an audience and make them...
Weird and morbid, absolutely. And that's my personality.
Help TJ, his friends.
Yeah, it did have everything to do with helping TJ. I did not make 1 red cent off that, and he made a mint.
I know that that's really weird, it's really odd, but nowhere in the recording, if you ever go back and listen to it, does he say, I hate my life, I hate myself, I hate anybody. He literally says, do this.
You know, I don't hate myself or love myself. I'm kind of fascinated by myself the same way everybody else is. You know, I think my own opinion of myself is pretty similar to that of the disinterested third-party viewer. I'm just like, wow, look at this freak. This is cool.
Help my friend TJ. Donate the money, or I'm going to kill myself. I'm not saying that it's TJ's.
It was a bluff, Brett. It was a bluff.
Fault. I'm not saying that it's Scotty or Ben. Hell, I don't even believe Scotty was there. There was Galen and a couple other people. Fakesagan is a person.
And they have spread so much disinfo about that. I mean, I think Galen and TJ have both at different times claimed that they kicked my ass that night. Where were the bruises? You know, the thing is, I actually did do some violent things to Galen that night. I punched him in his bad arm. He's got some kind of nerve damage in his shoulder, and he went outside and sat on the front steps and cried for a while, and Holly had to go out and talk to him before he would come back into his own apartment. You know, like they've told so many, you know, when something that outrageous happens, it's easy to make any kind of claim, and people will kind of assume, well, since I saw this crazy shit happen, then this other crazy shit that they're claiming must have also happened as well. Yeah, it really didn't.
Person that has a lot of honor, he has a lot of respect for life. He sees that there's reasons behind everything. He sees that there's a point to existence around him.
Absolutely.
And it's no wonder why it brought him to the conclusion that there is a God. But he understands, just like any believer out there, that...
No. That's a cause and effect reversal. The belief in God came first, and the seeing meaning in everything, and a purpose to existence, that came second. That was the result. No, wait. Let me specify. I was a determinist, and to an extent, I still am. To a very large extent, I've always been a determinist. But before God, I definitely believed in coincidence, and I don't anymore. It's kind of tough to explain. I mean, well, of course it is. We're talking theology here. Nothing about religion is simple.
Just because you believe in God, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden life is going to become fair. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're going to get more benefits.
No. Believing in God is what teaches you how unfair life is. And I think that's part of why I'm learning more and more to accept the world for what it is and not try to change it into some kind of utopia, because the world exists in a fallen state. It's not meant to be a utopia. I don't think God will allow it to be a utopia. The utopia was Eden, and we fucked that up. So, we're always going to have 99 problems. It's, but a bitch ain't one. Let me elucidate just a little bit more on this point, lest anybody be left with the impression that I'm saying that belief in God has turned me into an apathetic person who doesn't care. It's not that. It's that the old Fakesagan's model of changing the world and making it a better place, and let's use Stephanie as an example, the old Fakesagan's model for changing things would have been, how can I help every girl in the world? How can I make the world a better place for girls? And the new Fakesagan's model of changing the world is, how can I help one girl? How can I make one girl's life better? I really think this is a more effective model. I've already had vastly more success, because every attempt I've made to effect some kind of wide-scale change has failed. And yet every attempt I've made to affect small changes has so far been successful. Well, obviously not the Gary one, but I've had much better success doing things that way. So anyway, go on.
And someone else who completely doubts and doesn't live life as if there's a God anyway. There's a lot of things that I perceive that I understand about him, and of course there's a lot of things that I still have to learn. But I'll never be able to learn any more from him if he stops, if he retires and he quits YouTube. He's telling people that he's going to disable his entire channel.
You're hitting me below the belt, Brett. You're getting me right in the feels.
Deleted in less than 48 hours. And he's offering for people to take his videos. And I'm going to say this to you, Mr. Fakesagan. Chris.
You see what I'm talking about? It's everywhere.
You're not going to be able to save everybody. You're not going to be able to get through to everybody. There's sometimes, no matter what you say or no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to get through to the person that you're looking at.
Not on YouTube.
Sometimes you're not going to be able to help people because they don't want help. Some people just want to see the world burn. Some people don't even see themselves as human anymore. They just see themselves as a rat in a maze. They see themselves as a parasite, deserving of death.
See what I'm talking about with the wisdom and the next level shit?
However, the person that you're focused on and you're talking to, even though they may not listen, even though you'll have to sadly watch them fall over a cliff and die by their own invention, there's going to be people out there who are going to be watching you. And there's going to be that moment whenever you say something just right, or you say something perfect at just the right time, where you will change someone's life forever.
The Jesus freak argument again.
That's the reason why I do YouTube. That's the reason why I reach out to people. I know that sometimes when I'm talking to people, I'm not always going to be able to reach them.
But Brett, you have the same problem I do when it comes to credibility. I mean, I look at the videos that you've made in the past few months, and I think to myself, if this guy was anybody else but Brett Keane, if this guy didn't have this reputation of scamming and dishonesty following him around, mostly a reputation that was earned years and years ago, he would be the man on here. Like people would be watching these videos that you're making lately and be blown away. And the only reason that's not happening is because you are Brett Keane. Okay, you have this reputation that you're never going to live down. And honestly, though I don't want anybody to follow me, I don't want anyone to quit YouTube for the same reasons that I am. I hate to say it, I really see you as one of the people like me who's always going to have a tremendous obstacle to overcome when it comes to your reputation on here. And despite the fact that you're making these wise, insightful, and terribly intelligent videos, it doesn't fucking matter because you're Brett Keane.
But sometimes you get those messages behind the scenes, like on Facebook or Twitter, or somebody Skypes you and they say, "Hey man, you remember that time when when you were talking to this person or you were having this battle?" And you're like, "Yeah." And they say, "Well, I was listening to you and you said something that changed my heart, something that moved me." You're never going to have that moment unless you continue to stick around. You know that there's people out there who want to watch you. You know that there's people who want to listen to you. You know that there's people who probably had their lives changed. You know that you had the ability to affect people in a negative way a long time ago.
Absolutely, I do know that. But I haven't really seen as much of an effect since I've changed my viewpoints on a lot of things. I think I've kind of been typecast. I think the die has been cast, and I'm sort of trapped in the role that I've made for myself here. It, just like First Last, that troll comment that I played earlier in the video, what he said was absolutely correct. I made my bed, I'm lying in it, but I'm ready to get out of bed now. I'm ready to move on to bigger and better things.
But believe it or not, you have the talent and the ability to affect people positively.
Oh, I know I do, just not here.
And that alone should give you the reason not to want to quit. That alone should give you the reason to continue. No matter where you are in your life, Mr. Fakesagan, no matter what you're doing in your existence, You're always going to be standing on that rock.
See, I do hate the idea of running away from my problems or leaving a mess and not cleaning it up. So damn you for making a good argument, Brett Keane. Fuck.
And you're going to be hit by the waves. But there's some people who are going to stand back and they're going to see you standing on the rock and they're going to...
You know, and I shouldn't have said, I just caught myself. I shouldn't say damn you to a fellow Christian. I keep forgetting that these terms that I just use rhetorically, they aren't really rhetoric anymore. So I take that back. Bless you, Brett. Don't damn you. Okay, so I already regret saying that.
See the waves hitting in, and they're going to say to themselves, damn, I wish I was that strong. I wish I was that smart. I wish I had that kind of conviction.
I really don't know how many people are saying that.
Where no matter what nature and life and everything throws at me, I'm going to stand tall. Take a break from YouTube, but don't quit. Don't delete your YouTube channel.
Brett, I already said I was going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Don't stop. Just take a break. You went through a very exhausting period. You reached for the stars. Don't reach so high. Take it one step at a time.
Well, like I explained about the small changes model versus the big changes model, that is the way I'm doing things now, but I don't even think I can affect small changes on YouTube. I'm out of Bitcoins, man.
Talk to the people that you trust. Hug someone that you care about. Kiss someone that you love. And come back when you're ready, but don't quit. I'm going to tell you right now that you've affected and impacted my life. You've impacted jezuzfreek.
I have impacted your life mostly negatively, Brett. You have to admit that. I mean, look at the sum total of our interaction here on YouTube. Yeah, in the past month or so, you and I have gotten along swimmingly, and we've built a lot of trust. We've gotten to know each other better than we ever did, but you know, stretch your memory back a little bit, all the way back to 2006 if you have to. Have I really done more good for you than harm? I don't think so.
Life, you helped out with a little girl out there that was having a very hard time with her existence.
And like I said to Jesus Freak when we were having a text conversation, and again, I don't think I'm revealing anything too personal, he thanked me for what I did for Stephanie, and I told him, and I was being completely honest when I said this. I said, don't thank me. I'm the one that should thank you, because doing what I did for Stephanie is the one good thing that I'm going to be able to take away from all of this. I think in the 10 years I've been here, that is the only real accomplishment that I've made on YouTube. And I'm just incredibly grateful that I had the opportunity to do that.
You've helped people. You've done something. It hasn't been a waste of time.
I helped one person.
My name is Dawn Keane.
Okay, well, there we go. That's your video for tonight. And if I get to make the video that I want to make tomorrow, barring any kind of technical difficulties, like a lightning bolt strikes a telephone pole somewhere and I lose my internet connection, if I get to do what I've got planned, then all this civil conversation, this happy friendly stuff, tomorrow you guys are going to get to watch me fail as a Christian, because I plan on bringing back a little bit of the old Fakesagan, just for old time's sake. So, drama fans, ponage fans, hang on to your hats, because I've got something in store for you, and it is going to be very, very special. Stay tuned.